Hi, it's Pip here from queenpipcards.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this slider card. I have a full tutorial on this one that is over on my blog post today, but I really wanted to explain to you the mechanism because it's quite technical and it's so much easier if you see it rather than just read my instructions. So this one's in mint macaron, but I decided to change it up for the video. So the first thing you'll need to do is cut a piece of cardstock, which is 23 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres, and then you're going to score that with this edge at the top of your trimmer. Use your scoreboard or your trimmer, but they're quite precise centimetre measurements, so doing it with my trimmer is actually easier, I find. So you're going to score it at 7.3 centimetres, 14.8 centimetres and 22.3 centimetres. That gives you something that looks like this. So these are your score lines. Okay, a little one there. And what you're creating is like a pocket with a piece of card on the inside and two pieces of card on the outside. Okay, then what you need to do is just chop out a small channel at the top and the bottom of this panel here. I'm going to call this panel A. This is panel B, this is panel C. And then this is your little tab that you're going to close and stick it down with. So I use the retired word window punch because I don't have the classic label yet, but that's on my order soon. So you can use the classic label punch, you can use any of the square framelits would work. Or any of the ovals if you just do a very shallow, you're just looking for a shallow cut or notch, see, at each side of that, top and bottom. And you'll notice that I've actually marked this as front and this as back, because you always want your close to be at the back, so you always want this bit here to close at the back. So this on the inside will be your back piece, and therefore this will be your front, because when it's closed it will turn round like that. Okay, so you just have to remember that when you're working. Then the next thing you need to do is you need to get a piece of a plastic bag. Here's one from a well-known brand store. It doesn't have to be one of these, it can be any food bag, Ziploc bag. I just use these ones because if I've got them, because they're quite thick, so nothing too flimsy. Get a heavy duty one. And what you're going to do is you're just going to cut it up. So using your snips, you just need a bit of a strip, and you need to keep you want to keep those ends. But you can take off this bottom piece here. It doesn't have to be perfectly cut. You could cut this on your trimmer if you wanted to. There we go. But what you're trying to do, what you're aiming for, is a piece that's long and thin, like that. You need a good width. You need to have it at least, this one's what, just about 9.5 inches that way, so nearly 20 centimetres or something. And the reason, in fact more than, it's about the length of the piece of cardstock, but the reason why you need it to be that long is it needs to be able to go around here and have an overlap at the front. And this is the next thing you're going to do. So with the front facing you, you're going to just wrap your plastic around and have the join here at the top of the front section. So I might want to trim that down just a little bit so that I have a little bit less showing. And the reason why you want to have the join at the front and at the top is so that you get a nice smooth pulling action. You don't want it to be too loose or baggy. You want it to, be reasonably close, but not so tight that it won't actually move as it moves down the card. Basically this is going to be the mechanism that does that to move your cardstock up and down. So I just attach this with glue dots. You can use tear and tape, you can use fast views, anything obviously that will stick plastic to plastic. And just make sure that that's getting on there. It's a little fiddly with being in a plastic bag, and you get a bit of static building up sometimes. So just fold that over the top, close to the top here, and then oops, make sure it's straight. Wrap this base up and attach it. There we go. So you want a bit of overlap happening just here at the top. Okay, so then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut out 3 pieces of designer series paper. So I've cut 3 pieces from the Blooms and Bliss pack. This one used the Carried Away celebration papers that we had, because they purchased this class before celebration finished, so I was able to include that designer series paper in their card class. Can you see how this one is slightly sticking? It's not quite so smooth as it should be. That's because I didn't put this up the top, I put it somewhere in the middle. So it then wraps itself around the ends. You want it so that the mechanism is going to literally just move up and down within this segment here. So these 3 pieces, as per the blog post and tutorial, are 7 by 10, and then you're going to cut 2 pieces of Whisper White cardstock, 6.5 by 9.5. As I say, this one used the Lift Me Up bundle to decorate it. I decided that I was going to use for this one the new Eastern Palace that's launching in May, next month. It's coming early. So I thought I'd use these because they're different and they're pretty. So, and the colours, I decided to obviously match up the colours. So for this one, you're going to want to attach the one that's coming down here at the front to the top of your mechanism, and you need to do that just at the top of your designer series paper here, where it's going to only attach itself to that plastic, and you need to make sure that it's in the closed position when you also attach it. Okay, so it's fully inside the card when you attach that in. And this, as you remember, is going to be the front. So when you turn this over, you wrap that round, you're going to have something that you can pull on that and it will move out like that. Okay, which means that when you put your back piece on, you need it to face the same way, because it's going to appear up from the card this way. So you need to fold it over, and this time you're going to attach it at the front here, again down the bottom. So this is why you need to leave a little gap in your stamping down the bottom, because that's going to be where you do your mechanism. And again in the middle with a couple of glue dots. So then see, they're just there, and this time you're attaching it at the bottom. Okay, so again you're going to turn it so it's going to face the right way, fully inside the mechanism, and just attach it there. So they look a bit like that. They're a bit flappy because they're only attached at the top and the bottom. But then when you pull one side, the other side moves. Okay, and when you push it back in, it goes back up again. Okay, so then all that's left to do then is just punch a hole in the bottom of this. Got my little hole punches here. There we go. Make sure it's central. There we go. And then you're going to thread some ribbon through that. So you could either use the ruched Sweet Sugar Plum ribbon that matches, or I've got some of this Blushing Bride satin ribbon that also matches because it's Blushing Bride. Just tie that bit through first, and then we'll sort out the baker's twine in a moment. Close that back up again, and then what you're going to do is you're now going to wrap it all inside, and you're going to attach this edge here to this edge here. So you're going to sandwich that piece inside. So you're going to do that, okay, and glue that piece down. So let me get some tear and tape for that. This on here, and you want to make sure it's got a nice solid take on it, and then we're just going to wrap it. This is the fiddly bit. You're just going to slide that piece underneath like that, fold it over, and bring it together to close like that. Okay, and then when you pull this, oops, turn it around the right way. When you pull this, your mechanism goes in and up, and when you push it closed, it closes. Now you could make this with card if you wanted to make it a bit firmer, but you might just need to leave a little more of a gap because this is quite snug. So you know, you might just want to make the sides a little bit wider. It's entirely up to you. Basically you make it as wide as you want to, based on what you're putting inside. Then I'm just going to finish that off with a piece of the same designer series paper, and then I'm going to, I'll just pop that on with a bit of multi-purpose glue. There we go. This time I want the flowers to show. So once you put the front on, then I'm going to attach one of these, which is newly cut from the new Eastern Palace, or Eastern Medallions, which is again another set that's coming out in May exclusively. So this matches with these, and there's loads of stamp sets and loads of dies. It's lovely. You could add a bit more here, but I like it so that you can put somebody's name here, and then sign it. And then just to finish off, I just use a bit of baker's twine down here, and you can just tie it in a double knot and then tie it in a bow, Queen Pip style. So that's it. As I said, all the instructions are over on my blog. There's a tutorial that you can download, which has got pictures of the original one, and yeah, I'd love to see you make some of these double-ended slider cards.